Today we're going to check out these new robotic vacuum mops from 3i. This is the G10 Plus, which is a compact robot vacuum mop system with dust compression technology. And then over here we have the S10 Ultra, which has its own water filtration system. A huge thank you to 3i for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. Starting off here with the G10 Plus, we have the nice little size robot, and then it just has the charging station. Here on the front, there is the Apex Vision. So this is using a LiDAR smart navigation system. And then on the top, we have the option to easily remove the dustbin to go ahead and empty it. And we can just push the button there and boom, it empties out. And we can then put this back and we're ready to go for another cleaning. And when you put this into place, you can lock that in and it's locked. And there is a filter in here that you can replace as well. And then on the bottom here, we have this massive side brush to pull in all that dirt from the side and put it here into the main brush. And then here you have your mop pad. And then on the back here, you're able to add water into the water tank for your mopping. So we've moved this here upstairs. It's going to be mainly vacuuming the floor. And then if we need to mop the bathroom, we're able to do that pretty easily with this. Now I've already added it into the app and we're going to enter and start mapping. And while this is mapping, let's head downstairs and check out the S10 Ultra. And here on the S10 Ultra, we just need to fill up the water tank right here. And inside, we're actually going to insert a carbon rod, which is really cool. And then here we have this hidden button that opens up our cleaning solution storage. So we're just going to open the cap, put it in there. Inside, it actually has a straw, so it's able to pick up the cleaning solution from the top there. Snap that into place. So here on the robot, at the top, you do have this removable top where this is the dustbin. Now this is automatically going to empty into the big dustbin here. So it's going to suction that out into there and that's automatically going to be filled up. So you don't have to do anything here. There is a filter in there that you can change out. On the front here, we have the same similar navigation with the smart LiDAR. And then on the sides, there are a few different sensors as well. But here on the bottom, you have two side brushes. So these are really cool. It's going to really help get all the dirt into the vacuum here. And then check out this massive roller here on the bottom. That is probably the largest roller I have seen in a robot vacuum. Now they're calling this the Edge mopping system. So we're going to check out all about that. And on the back here is a sewage water tank that will collect all the dirt and everything after it's done washing the mop pad. And this will need to be cleaned regularly. Now, one more awesome feature built into this base station is it is actually a dehumidifier. So on the back here, you can see there is this massive filter. And at first it's like, what is that? Now this is going to be great because you can have this in your home in a humid environment and it will automatically pull the water out of the air and go through its water recycling process, heating up to 90 degrees Celsius and distilling it and putting it, almost boiling it, I guess, and putting it back into the water tank so that you should never have to refill the water on this. It's going to be fully maintained, which is pretty crazy. Now for the water, we don't need to use hot water. We can just put in cool water. We're going to then remove the filter cap and we're going to insert the filter like so and put the cap back into place, lock it in, fill it up, and there is our max fill line. And then at the top here, you do have a few buttons. You have the child lock, and then you have the recall button and the start mopping button. So I think it's time to get this mapped out. While the S10 Ultra is mapping, I think the G10 Plus is done upstairs. Let's go check it out. The G10 Plus has now finished mapping the floor and we're going to start cleaning. The first thing we're going to test out is the compression dustbin. Now built into here, we'll be able to see how much has been compressed in here. So you can have a total of 60 days of dust compression in here. So you're not having to empty this very often because this doesn't have the base station. It's all self-sustained right in here and we won't have to deal with it very often. And it has been a week since we vacuumed the floor, but in our home, that is like a few weeks of dirt just because of all the kids. So let's go ahead, start the cleaning and see how that compresses the dirt. And here in the app, I have all kinds of options for suction power. So you have the quiet, medium, strong, or max, and this can go up to 18,000 Pascal of suction power. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the 2-cycle cleaning to really get this floor totally clean. When using its LiDAR navigation, it's able to see where it's going, but it also has a camera system where it's able to detect 128 different objects. So here, as it was cleaning around the edge, it noticed that there was a cord and it labeled that cord, and it was able to drive around it so that it didn't get stuck. So that's really great that it was able to keep cleaning and I didn't have to worry about it. And there were a few more things it saw, which were a few socks on the floor. And here with that AI obstacle avoidance, it's also able to avoid cords and all those different objects I mentioned, so it's not going to get stuck if anything's in its path. Some of the objects it's programmed to avoid are phone chargers, earphones, power strips, slippers, socks, towels, toy bears, cords, toilet paper rolls, pet toys, small indoor plants, cans, bottles, and I guess even giant giraffes. Now this is using an AI camera to be able to avoid these obstacles as it builds a precise 3D map of the home and recognizes all of those different objects. It even has a built-in light, so we'll be able to see and avoid these objects in the dark. Now in that time lapse, there was a tiny pink ribbon that at first it missed, but this actually has dirt scan cleaning strategy where it's able to go around and clean those areas that are missed. I wasn't able to get it on screen, but here you can see the line where it drove right through to pick that up. Now next we have the Ultra Reach side brush. So here as it is going along the edge, you can see the side brush really getting into the corner to pull everything out, but as this is going around other corners in the home, it's actually able to extend to fully cover 100% of the floor, getting all the way into those hard to reach places. And here you can see that side brush in action, just getting everything on the side of the floor. It has now cleaned the full area here one full time. That's 4 different bedrooms and this main living area. Let's go ahead and check to see how much dust is in the dust compression bin. So right here at the top, you can kind of see, but this is pretty full. Now this is a really deep clean. Like I said, we have a lot of dirt up here, but because of the quiet dust compression technology, there's still room in here where it can continue to clean and fill this up even more. So, you know, after 60 days, we'd be able to empty this. Sometimes might need to empty it a little more just because there's so much going on up here, but that's doing a great job in keeping it all on this. And I love how I can just simply push the button, dump it out in the garbage can, and I don't have a bag that I need to empty out or repurchase or anything like that. So love how this is able to work. Let's keep cleaning. Now I mentioned before this has 18,000 Pascal of suction power. So let's go ahead and turn this up to the max plus setting as we are driving through the debris here to pick it all up. Now with twice as much power as other similar models, it was able to get that with no problem. There's only 1 or 2 more pieces it's gonna pick up on its second pass. And there with the 18,000 Pascal of suction power, it was able to get all of that debris on the floor, only missing maybe 1 tiny piece that it's going to get right now. But that's twice as much suction power as many other robot vacuums at this size and cost. So it's great that it's able to get all of that in just 1 pass. Now I forgot to mention, but because we're not going to be emptying this for 60 days, it does have UV light sanitization built in. So it's going to help this stay more hygienic. It's now cleaned all the floor, and on the bottom, one thing I want to check is if it caught any hair. And if we look at this, there's barely anything on there. There's actually no hair that I see, and there was a ton of hair up here. I have 3 daughters, lots of hair everywhere. So really impressed that none of that was on there. There's just a few little dust particles and some other random strings and a lot of crocheting happening in this house. So some leftover things there, but that did great. Now we finished the full cleaning up here, so let's go ahead and see what a deep, deep clean looks like. In debris, of course, I've done all kinds of picking up. There you can see all the hair that has been put in there, tons of dust and some cereal. And that is a lot of dirt that it picked up just for 1 week. So of course, the more regular I'm going to be cleaning, the less of this I'm going to see. So as I continue to clean more, we won't have as big of a mess in here. But now let's dump that out. And one thing I want to show you is how this works. So as it is cleaning, it's then going to come back and kind of compress that side to side to push the dirt in so that it can compact all of that in and fit a lot more to get up to that 6 weeks. And then every once in a while, I'll need to just clean this out. There it has a bunch of the dirt stuck on there as well. Might need to rinse that off, but that does a great job in holding a ton. Again, it's so great that there is no dust bag that I need to replace. I just need to dump this out, put it back in, and we're good to go. Now let's go ahead and try out the self-adaptive mopping. So I just need to fill up the water tank and let's clean the bathroom.
The water tank has been installed.
And here under the vacuuming and mopping section, we have the option to choose the suction power. We can choose the water level. Pretty dirty in here. We're just going to do high level. And then here we have the 2 cycles. And as it cleans up to the edge, it moves out the mop bed to get as close as it can. And there it's leaving a nice trail of water that it has cleaned all over here. And if it comes onto the carpet, it is able to lift up the pads so that it's not going to get the carpet wet to cause more dirt. And there it's putting it back down to continue mopping. And let's take a look at the final look here. I think it did a great job on this floor. Now at the beginning, I did put out a big old puddle of some liquids, and it did see that and recognize it as an obstacle to avoid it. This is mainly to clean up stains on the floor, so it didn't want to spread the liquid all over, which was great. I did clean that up a little bit throughout, and then it went back over that area, but this looks great. Let's see how the robot looks here. So now you can see that cleaning pad did get quite a bit of gunk on it, and for me to take off, I can easily pinch and pull that right off, and then I can pull this off. It's Velcroed on, so we would want to go and clean that, so I can just easily pull it off. And now we can just slide that out and we can throw this in the wash, and so that it is ready for our next cleaning. And let's check out the water tank here. So it just used just a little bit there. We could do quite a bit more. This of course is a very small area, but it would do a smaller size kitchen or something like that. So I think that's a great little option to have if you need some mopping with your vacuuming as well. And so that is what the 3i G10 Plus is capable of. I think this is an excellent option. I love how much suction power this has, and was able to get tons of dirt that I didn't even know was there. And then I love that it has the dust compression, the obstacle avoidance, and everything built into this without a massive base station that you need to have. Just has this nice little charger, and then you need to manually empty it every 60 days. And it's great that it has that mopping option. But if you need a little bit more mopping capability and you want to dehumidify your home, let's check out the S10 Ultra. Let's start off by talking about the vacuuming features. First up, we have dirt scan with green light. Is what this green light allows it to do is it's using a mid wavelength to be able to see the dirt as well as spills on the floor, so it can easily see them and then mark them as something that it needs to go and clean. For navigation, this is also using AI and a dual structured lighting system, so it's able to avoid 65 different types of objects and navigate around them, so it can make the best path and not get stuck. Now, when the robot is transitioning from room to room, you may have a threshold that it needs to go over, and you don't want it getting stuck on that. Well, here we have almost a 1-inch threshold that it needs to climb up and go over. Let's see how it does. And after just a bit of work, it was able to force itself up and over that threshold and continue cleaning in that room. I think this is such a great feature to have in any robot vacuum and mop. Now, some of the main differences you'll notice is this only has the green LED light. When it goes dark, it's going to keep that on, but that will still allow it to see where it is going. And then this has 13,000 Pascal of suction power, so not quite as strong, but still it's going to be no problem. And something that's similar that I didn't mention before is these have a dual combing system that are tangle free. So not only is it using the side brushes to pull in the hair, but in the brush itself, the main brush, it has these combs that's detangling it and pulling all of that in the dustbin. So taking a look underneath here, we have the side brushes. They don't pull out like on the other one, but here if we take a look at the main brush, there's only a tiny bit of hair that's caught on here so far because it still needs to, finish cleaning, and it's gonna pull that into the main tray. It looks like we found a little Lego piece in there, but there you can see the dual combs right in there. Let me zoom in far. So there you can see those combs that it's using to pull off any debris, and then it's going to be sucked right into the main dustbin there. And it does come with a brush that you can use to help clean this off. And then here we have the 2-in-1 design roller brush. So here we have the bristles that's going to be great for carpet to comb really deep. And then here we have the rubber pad that depending on if you're using LVP or a tile floor, that's going to be able to scrape the floor great and pick up all the dirt in the gaps. And again, this does have the auto empty into the base station, but let's take a look here at the dustbin. So there you can see this is pretty packed already, and as it cleans from room to room, it can go back and empty everything in the dustbin, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And inside the base station, that will also do the UV sanitization so that it's not going to build up any mildew or anything like that. And just like that, another room's been cleaned. And after it's done collecting the dust there, you can see it has all been put in there. So again, you have that 60-day dust storage without needing to empty it at all. It's now time to start mopping, and the floor is definitely needed. But let's talk about how this entire process works. So it's going to take the water that I've already filled up and then wash the mop pads, take them out, clean the floor, come back and then clean the mop pad, and it will have a wastewater. It's then going to take that wastewater and it's going to recycle it and turn it into distilled water. And how this is working is it's using a 90°C sub-boiling purification process to turn that into distilled water that it can then put back into here so that it's going to be reused. So I only filled it up once, but then it could just keep using that water and it will keep adding it to here. So it's great that it has this awesome world's first purification process built right into here. Now the second process it's going to use to get water is turning air into water. Now how is that done? Well, that is through a dehumidifier. So built into here, there's a big filter in the back, so it's going to be able to pull in air and then take the little droplets of water out of the air and put that back into here and take it through the purification process as well. Now, I live in Utah, so there's not tons of moisture here in the air, but there's definitely a little. For a few years, I lived in New Zealand, and we needed a dehumidifier because it got so moist inside the air, and we needed to clean all the time because there was just water dripping from the ceiling because of how much moisture there was. So a dehumidifier we used there, it would fill up about 1 tank every day that we would take water out of the air inside. And so that's essentially what you're doing here is this is taking all of that water out of the air, filling this back up so you never have to replenish the water again. And it's great because you can put this anywhere. There's no cords or anything you need to plug into it. It's done all right here into the machine. So really cool how all of that works. And again, it's going to take that air out of the water and clean it, and it's going to remove 99.9% of the E. coli contamination. So it's going to be great to put into here, and then you have that cleaner as well. Now this is a silver ion purification process. So the water that is on the floor is going to be clean, fresh, and your floors are going to look great. And in the settings, I also have the option to adjust the humidity range to start the air to water generation. So right here, if I change it to above or greater than 69%, it says water generation condition not met. But here, if I have it below 40%, there it says condition met for water generation. So it's great that I have all of those options here in the app. In the app, you do have the option to turn off turning air into water, but right now it is off, so you don't hear anything. When it is on, there will be a hum coming from the machine. All right, let's get to mopping. And here as the S10 Ultra starts cleaning, you can see the Ultra Reach mop there. It's able to extend out 1.97 inches to clean all the way to the edge. Here it's cleaning the edge of this area, and then as it goes under the cabinets and other parts of the floor, it's able to get right up there against the edge. Now, one thing I love is how wide this is able to mop. So this is just after a couple passes, and it has cleaned a ton of the floor. And with 12 newtons of downward pressure, it's able to clean up any mess. Here we have some ketchup on the floor, able to pick that up, no problem. And here as it's cleaning the floor, the mop is making 330 rotations per minute, as well as it has 12 streams of water spraying the mop to continue to clean it and self-wash it as it is doing the cleaning. So all of that is being stored here in the waste station. So here's its cleaning. Right there you can see the roller brush. As that is spinning, it's also being scraped into the wastewater here. So everything is going to go into there, and then we will need to clean this every once in a while, but there is no other dirty water bin that you have. All it is this that has the final dirt that is being picked up, and then all the other water is being recycled at the station. And after it cleaned a certain area, it then went back and changed out the water, so it's ready to clean again. It's now done cleaning. It's back at the station. It first does a hair cleaning because it was vacuuming and mopping, and then it will wash the mop pads. It's now going to dry the mop pads to prevent any mildew or buildup or anything like that. So it's great to see this whole system work together, and then it's taking that extra water, going through that purification process, and putting it back here into the water bin. Let's check out what's left over in the sewage tank. So here, checking out the sewage tank right here at the top of the mesh filter, you can see that there is a bit of crumbs and different things that it picked up and are there. So we will need to just rinse this off. And then here inside, there's just a little bit of water left over that it found was dirty. So it scraped that off and has dirty water in it. So I will need to just easily clean this out. And everything else was then put back here, and it's going through the filter process right now. And here there is a little bit of leftover gunk that was left that I'll need to wash off as well. And you can easily remove the mop just by pulling it off like that. And there you can see the mop pad. And here we have the roller brush. And here are the 12 jets of water that are spraying onto the roller brush to clean it as it is cleaning. It just gave me a message. It is now distilling the water, and let's take a look at the finished cleaned floor. This looks great. It was able to get all the crumbs picked up, and all the extra messes, ketchup stains, everything like that have been cleaned up off the floor. Very impressed with the cleaning roller mop. I just put a blue line marker here with the tape at where the current water line is at. So we're going to leave this for the next few hours, come back and see how much water has been added. It's currently 3:30. The time is now 7:45, so it's been about 4 hours since I put my little piece of tape here. Now, first off, listen to how this sounds. So it's just a nice little soft fan noise in the background. One really cool thing is you can actually schedule when the humidifier is on or off. So maybe you only need it on a few hours a day to fill up the water enough. Then you can just have it automatically turn off when you're here during the day and just have it be on at night. Anyway, let's get to seeing how much it actually filled up. So here's the tape line I put down 4 hours ago where the water line was right here at the top. And now the water line is all the way up here in just 4 hours. I am incredibly impressed. Here, this went up 2 centimeters of water. That's gonna definitely help fill up, every couple of days. You'll be able to run this multiple times without needing to come and fill up the water again. So there you go. That's just, again, 4 hours went up that far. So you can imagine just a full day how much that's going to get. And you never have to refill this water tank again. And so that is just amazing how it can be totally self-sustaining without me needing to constantly fill up the water. It can do it all on its own, whether it be from the wastewater that it has here or pulling down water from the air. That's one of the coolest robot mop features I've seen in a long time. Now, after spending some time with the 3i G10 Plus and the S10 Ultra, these are very solid robot vacuum and mops. I love the G10 Plus and how simple it is, not taking up tons of space, but still being able to clean and have that 60 days of dust storage, and then being able to mop if you need to. Very low maintenance over here. Great how this was able to quickly and easily operate. And I also love the navigation. It was able to move around cords and other things that other robot vacuum and mops struggle with. And over here with the S10 Ultra, the robot performed excellent, navigating around everything, mopping exactly where it needed to. Now, I didn't talk about how you can choose to not have it go over carpets when it's mopping and other things like that. And it can also lift up the mop pad if it does need to, so it's not going to get them extra wet. But all that performed great, and I love that massive roller brush. I don't think I've ever seen one that big on a robot mop, and that was able to perform great. But having this base station, it's such a unique thing that I hadn't seen done ever before. I think it's awesome to be able to have everything built into here, how it can take water out of the air, put it back into here, and then how this can automatically filter and distill the water so that it can also add it back into the water tank. You really won't have to fill up the water tank much. Some of these I'm actually having to fill up every single time I clean because there's so much floor that we're cleaning here. So that does take a lot of time out of the day. But now having it all built into one where it's going to be continually filling this up throughout the day as it's pulling water out of the air, then I won't have to take the time to refill it. So really cool that it has all that. And then the dust storage built into here. I love having that also on the base station. So really cool how much this has added to the ability of the robot vacuum and mops. Now this might take a little bit of energy, but they're saying it's less than 2 drinks for the whole month that this takes to power to be able to do all of that. So you might just not have to splurge every single day. So overall, really great robot vacuum and mops. If you want to check them out, make sure you check out the links down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.